Hey everyone, welcome. We are back with another live video. Welcome to the Reality TV Breakdown. And so, to start off, I want to say that Mr. Woods was unavailable today. He's ill, so we just want to send prayers up to him and hope he feels better. My friend, the governor, he is actually on vacation, so we want to just wish safe travels to him. But never fear, God always has a ram in the bush. And I want to welcome back to our show, you guys. This is great. I want to welcome back to our show my brother, King Meech. He is back, you guys. Here he is. Hold on. Meech is back in the building.
What's up? How everybody doing?
First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for stepping in. I really appreciate you.
Sure, I'm glad to come on. I wish everybody was here, but I'm
Yes.
glad I could help you while your other guys are out.
Yes, I appreciate it so much. So, I'm not gonna do too much on New Jersey because
Okay.
I know we don't watch New Jersey, but you may have an opinion on some of the topics. So
Okay.
just
Okay.
a real quick overview. So basically, Teresa, who is our main OG of New Jersey, she
Okay.
she's gone through a divorce and she has a new man in her life. Now, she has not told the rest of the group that she has this new man. Everybody suspects it, but nobody knows except Melissa and her brother Joe.
Okay.
So Joe and Melissa are out to dinner with Margaret and her husband, and Joe lets it slip that Teresa is in love. And
Okay.
basically confirming that she does have a new man. No, Teresa has not made this announcement to everybody, and Melissa's like, Joe, she's gonna kill you. Like she swore to secrecy. We're not supposed to tell anybody this. It was
Right.
brother. So, just in your opinion, how do you feel about you telling your sibling something in confidence and they going back and telling everybody else this secret that they're not ready to announce yet?
Um. Well, I mean,
Granted,
you.
I mean he is happy for his sister, but at the same time, it's like, can she make her own announcement?
Yeah, I tend to let people, put their own business out there. I think that's always the best thing to do. However, in this situation, I think since they were probably in close quarters or, a private dinner or something like that, it's probably not as bad as if he put it like on social media or something. But generally, I let people make their own announcements.
Gotcha. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So now we're talking about Margaret. She wrote this pretty much this autobiography about her life, and she's put everything out there on the table as far as like her marriage and when she started to, you know, when she pretty much started to see her current husband while
Okay.
she was married. She was married. Her current husband was the contractor, so she wasn't. I mean, her current husband was the contractor at the time. So she was basically having a rift in her marriage at that time.
Okay.
Her husband wasn't really showing her affection. He wasn't he wasn't being a husband. So her and her husband Joe, her current husband Joe, he was basically the contractor for the house, fixing stuff and everything like that. It started with, you know, a glass of lemonade. I will always
Okay.
start with a glass of lemonade. And they built a friendship, and then during the course of their friendship, she fell in love with him, and she cheated on her husband with him.
Okay. Okay.
So that's included in the book, and she also talks about a situation where her boss, she was in her early 20s. Her boss invited her back to his place. They're supposed to go like a work dinner, and
Okay.
so she went back with him to his place so he can get whatever he's going to get. But while they were at his place, he basically ended up hitting on her, and basically in a way used his power of being her boss to basically get her to sleep with him. Like he never flat out said like if you sleep with me or you're gonna get fired or anything like that. But she was in that headspace of where like this is my boss. If I don't do it, he may fire me. Situation like that. And she talks about that in her book. Now the way she initially explained it, it was like, yeah, I slept with my boss. He just said he wanted to sleep with me, so I did it, right? But then but then she goes on later to explain it after getting, cause someone basically insults. So like, well, you had, she told somebody said they had a sloppy moment because they were sloppy drunk. So she said, well, you had sloppy moments too. You slept with your boss.
Oh, wow.
So she went back and later explained
what actually happened.
What her headspace was at the time. So it was so the way when she finally explained it, it was different to how she said it initially.
Yeah.
So basically, the other girl, she felt bad at the time. So she's like, let me go ahead and apologize then, because when you said it initially, it didn't come off that you were distraught about it.
Yeah.
It came off like you were sleeping with your boss to get ahead. So how do you feel about like situations like that? As far as like say, like if somebody says something one way and then it gets flipped back on them, then they have to explain exactly what happened in the situation. Do you think it should have been explained correctly in the beginning? Then people wouldn't have taken it a different way?
No, I don't think that she's responsible for their assumptions or reactions to what she said. Also, it's a tough situation because I think it never sounds right for me for anyone to sleep with their boss. It always sounds like they're the victim, no matter if they wanted to or whatever the case may be. But I think also she has to, understand that she put that out there with no context or not with the accurate context. So, she has to live with whatever comes from that.
Gotcha. And then the one of the things that came up was Black Dolores. I call her Black Dolores because she, like, if you look at Dolores, like she looks like she got sister in her, but she actually does. She's like 1/3.
She got what?
Like she's like, she's 1/3 something, but something black. I know that.
Oh, she got some sister in her.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, she
Like
actually
what?
did her, but because Wendy Williams always called her Black Dolores because she said she looked like she got some black in her, and so Dolores actually did her ancestry, and 1/3 something black. I know that. That's what I remember. But so her ex-husband Frank, who's like her best friend, basically he cheated on her before they got. He was cheating on her a lot while they were married, which is why they're divorced now.
Okay.
So what happened was Joe Gorga, who is Teresa's brother, Melissa's husband, he basically told her because she's having some issues with her current boyfriend David. He's a doctor, and he doesn't really have a lot of time for her. He doesn't really spend a lot of time with her. And it's like, she loves him. He says he loves her. And she was like hoping that he was going to propose to her at some point. And he bought her Bentley.
Okay.
So
like, is there a point to be made right there?
So he bought her Bentley. Like he made it seem like he was he made it seem like he was going to propose to her, but he ended up buying her a Bentley.
How do you make it seem like you're going to propose to somebody?
It's like those things like, I have a special surprise for you. We're gonna have a special night. Da 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 da. So stuff like when you use words like that, like me being around women a lot, knowing how I pretty much have an understanding of how they're thinking. They're thinking like, dude, tonight's the night. he's gonna finally do it. Da 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 da. Let me da da da, and then he buys her Bentley.
Okay.
So with that, also he doesn't like spend a lot of time. They also spoke to a medium, and the medium said that her grandmother basically said that he may not be the one for her, that her one is still out there.
Okay.
Um, what happened was that Joe, all the friends around, feel the same way, and Joe Gorga made a statement about Frank saying that, well, the issue with Dolores is that she's accepting what she can get now because Frank basically broke her. She's a broken woman.
Okay. Which happens.
Someone called, she called, not a narcissist. It was something else she called him. But basically, how do you feel about statements like that, though? Calling like a man, a man calling a woman a broken woman.
I think it's unnecessary. I think it's counterproductive. I think it's hurtful. But at the same time, it could be an honest assessment of what he sees from her based upon the men that she's chosen following the major heartbreak or whatever she went through with the main person that she was wanting to be with. So
okay for friends to do that though.
To do what? To call you broken?
To like basically say it in front of other people.
I mean, it's never a good feeling for one of your friends to disrespect you at all, but most importantly, not in front of other people.
Yeah, it was like a house situation, and he was like, Frank, you broke her. Like, you're my boy, but you broke her. She's a broken woman.
Also, Frank was there.
Yeah, Frank was there.
And the new boyfriend was there?
No, the new boyfriend wasn't there. He's never there.
Okay.
Kentasia Price said, I feel like it depends on the situation and how it's said.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, okay.
And then, all right, another situation is Joe and Melissa. So Melissa now, so before they were on the show like that, Deep and Heavy, Melissa was, Joe's, promise with Melissa, deal with Melissa was she take care of home and he worked.
Okay.
Typical, you take care of home, you be, do your wifely duties,
More old school than typical.
Yeah, he has the more old school Italian thinking of like this is how our life is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And that was their original agreement. But now she's on the show. She has her store. Her store's Envy.
Mm-hmm.
Like doing so much. She's doing like, the press releases and all that, the fashion shows and all that other stuff for Envy.
Right.
So she doesn't have a lot of time. Joe feels like she doesn't have a lot of time for him. And it's not even like, for him, it's not the big stuff. It's like the little stuff. More so, more so like, give him a compliment, when he comes home. Like if he had a long day, just give him a little rub on the shoulder, let him know, like, comforting him, stuff like that. Do you think that stuff is like, do you think it's trivial to be kind of upset about not having those little things done anymore? Or do you think he like has a right to like feel kind of like he's not getting the attention that a husband should receive from his wife?
I think it's both. I think that anytime you feel any way when you're in a marriage, those opinions and thoughts are valid. I also think it could possibly be trivial. However, to him, it may be impactful because that may be, a small chunk of their relationship start falling off, and then more and more things start, happening. And that can just be like the tip of the iceberg for more things to come. So I think it can be both. It may seem petty to us because we can't feel what he feels, but what I mean, it may matter to him, because that wasn't what he signed up for. He already didn't sign up for her to be this, 2021 woman with businesses and jobs and fame and all that. So he's already like, oh, damn, this is not what I thought was going to happen. And then at the same time, he's like, and then now I'm not getting the attention or the love that I'm used to. So, but I think she can do both. I think women can work and pay bills and build businesses, but also be a mom and be a loving wife. I think women can do it all. So I don't think that she has to, you know, be stay at home or just be a boss. She can do both.
Do both. Gotcha. All right. I think we went through it. Oh, last one, Jennifer. So with well, it's because Jackie don't matter. So Jackie's an ex-lawyer. She's some kind of blogger or whatever.
So go on to Jennifer. She don't matter.
Yeah. So with Jennifer, Jennifer had made an Instagram video, just like about her life and stuff that's going on in her life during quarantine,
Mm-hmm.
and how she had to like basically fire her nanny or her nanny quit or something like that. Her housekeeper quit or something.
Okay.
And she said something about it's so much going on in this house, like with me having to take care of all the kids while we're in quarantine. They need to be, I need to help them do school. I need to do this. I need to do that. I need another house. I need a new housekeeper and probably a nanny. So Margaret saw that and basically said like people would be offended by that because here we are in a pandemic and you're worried about not having a housekeeper or a nanny. But she has 4 kids and she's helping them do virtual learning. Do you think that what are your opinions on, I guess, someone without kids that doesn't have to worry about that type of situation, basically kind of judging someone who has the kids and is doing all this stuff for wanting help to do these things? Especially if they have the money.
That's a tough call to me. I don't think you could be on either. I'm not personally on either side of it because, for one, this reality star, if that's what she is, she has a right to express herself on her page.
Mm-hmm.
And that may be her reality, that she can't handle 24/7 4 kids. She's only one person and she needs assistance. At the same time, I do think you have to be mindful of your platform and what what type of realities other people are living on. So just because it's a pandemic doesn't mean that she's not entitled to her experience. Because people don't have to follow her. People don't have to. I think we give these reality stars some type of pass as if they're perfect and everything is okay. Then when they show us that they're normal, we come at them like, oh, your problems don't mean anything because we are rich and famous. But like mental health and raising kids and childcare, all that is universal. So I think it's a weird flex to, come at her for that in that instance because, it's a pandemic, so it's weird to attack anybody in a pandemic. But at the same time, if we weren't in a pandemic, are you gone? What happened? Okay. I think it's a weird time to even be attacking her in a pandemic because we're in a pandemic. But if we weren't in a pandemic, would they have an issue with her saying she has 4 kids and needs help? I mean, I don't think pandemic makes a difference because, if she lost her reality show job or something else, if she has another kid eventually or whatever, she may still need assistance. So what does the pandemic change in the dynamic of her needing a nanny? If you don't like that celebrities boost about being able to afford nannies and housekeepers, then just say that. You don't have to use the pandemic as like, we're in a pandemic, you shouldn't even need a housekeeper. Why not? That's another person who may need a job. There may be a housekeeper out there or a nanny who can't find work because it's a pandemic. So boom, now there's 2 more people who have a job. So I think it works both ways, but it's always a weird flex for me for people to think that, reality stars or celebrities are not going to have a real life when the cameras aren't on.
Right. All right. And another situation that she's dealing with is her parents. So her dad moved in with her.
Okay.
She's building a better relationship with her father because she didn't really have one when she was growing up.
Okay.
Her mom is kind of upset about it because her mom feels that she was the parent that took care of her. She was the one that was always there when she needed her, and now she's growing a bond with him, and it kind of feels like to her that she's more so taking his side on things and not taking her side on things.
The parents are together or not together?
They're still technically married, but they live separately.
They have separate lives.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the mom feels like that the dad basically emotionally abused her when they were married.
Mom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because when they got married, like she was 17 and he was 26. Something about that's how their culture was, like, basically.
Mhm.
And she was like the last daughter in the house. So he's basically wanted to marry her. And it was like, well, she's ready to get out the house, so it's like, okay, I'm gonna marry him. But then it was at the engagement party she realized he was mean and she didn't like him. And she kept trying to beg her parents. She begged her parents to help her not have to marry him. And they said, if you don't marry him, you'll be a disgrace to the family. So she basically forced to marry him and stay with him. So in these, like, parents against parent situations, I mean, basically Jennifer's caught in the middle, and it's like she wants to continue to build a relationship with her dad, but she also wants to make sure her mom knows that she's loved and she understands where she's coming from. But now her and her mom aren't on speaking terms right now.
Mhm.
So in these parent versus parent situations, how do you feel as a like if you were in that situation as a child being caught in the middle of your parents?
I don't know this specific situation because obviously our culture norms and things like that are different. However, I do know the dynamic of being forced or pushed to be having to make a decision between which parent. As a child,
Mhm.
um, I really didn't have an opinion from when my dad lived with us and when he didn't, back and forth. I just, tried to just ignore it and let them sort out their own problems, even though they would talk to me about each other. And for me as a kid, I never hated my mom because of what my dad said. I never hated my dad because of what my mom said. As an adult now, I stay neutral still to this day. No matter nothing my mom says can turn me against my dad, nothing my dad says can turn me against my mom, because I experience them different. Y'all experience each other as lovers, as parents, blah blah blah. I experience y'all as parents only. So my only focus is that you guys are being parents to me in our separate relationships. Um, but in this situation, I think that's what I would do. If my mom was to address me about something in my household, that's not acceptable.
Right.
Just the same way as if my mom came and stayed with me, and my dad said, "Man, I'm the one who took you to football practice and helped you become a man and did this." But this is my house. I am the man of this house. So if I want to let my mama come and stay, if I want to let both y'all come and stay, at the end of the day, this is my home. So I respect y'all as my parents, but I make all the decisions where I pay all the bills.
Exactly.
So in this situation, me and my mom would never fall out because I would have told her, uh, rather if I chose to tell her or not. However, when she found out my dad was staying there, she would have known not to question me about my home because she already knows the type of person that I am. I'm going to live and make decisions for my home without needing any type of confirmation from either parent. So in this situation, I think because of their culture, I don't know if this was best for her to do, because by choosing the father to come in, she is making a statement, rather if she doesn't want to or not. Just the act of having the father come is probably a shifting of their culture norm. So I understand the mom. However, at the end of the day, it's not enough to fall out over.
Gotcha.
I think that's the issue. You can disagree with my choices for my household, but when we fall out and stop speaking because of something you don't control, then that's when you've taken it a little bit too far. And that's where I side with the daughter because, you know what I mean? Even though maybe I was quote unquote wrong at the same time, was it worth not speaking to me over? It could be my last day. And your last memory of me could be the fact that you was mad that I allowed my dad to come and stay with me. So I think it's petty. I think it's trivial. But at the same time, like I said, I do understand where the mom is coming from. I just think she took it too far. Because we're not going to fall out about something in my household. And if you want to fall out with me because of where I pay the bills at, I'm going to let you do it. That's just what that is.
So before we transition into Rowan, do you watch? Have you watched the VH1 I guess Marriage Boot Camp or whatever it is?
Not interested at all.
So, but just want to touch on one topic that's that's the major.
Oh God, I know what you're about.
The Yandy and Mendeecees thing.
So let me get this drink real quick.
Okay.
It's not alcohol, it's just a regular drink. Go ahead though. Keep going.
So we good.
This is gonna be interesting.
I know, right? So Mendeecees went to jail for however many years.
I think he did like 7, 8 years.
7 or 8. And Yandy held him down the whole time.
Okay.
And basically said, for him, like he was saying like stuff like, she didn't answer all of his calls like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was also posed with the question of if the roles were reversed and same thing happened to her, would he have held her down the same way?
Okay.
Also in that situation.
Well, first, I haven't seen the episode. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened prior to this being the question. I also don't know, and I actually wrote this on, I think, one of the blogs. I said, can somebody break down what does held him down means?
I guess,
in my opinion, held him down means she raised their kids together.
Mm-hmm.
She paid all the bills and kept things afloat.
Mm-hmm.
She kept them relevant, if you will, in the reality TV world. And she also was taking up for his co-parent responsibilities for his other children with the other baby mamas while he was away.
Put money.
That's my definition of held him down. So, okay. So with that mindset going forward, so what do I think about the situation? My immediate thoughts was, this is just me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to love somebody who loves me in the same way that I love them. So for me, what he said for me is close to a deal breaker, but we would really have to talk about, because it's not about would he have taken care of her kids if she had another care of a man, or would he have communicated with the other baby fathers and all that stuff, or the baby daddies, whatever. It's really about the love. Like, do you love me enough? Do you respect and honor me enough? And you took vows stating that if I was unable, you would be there to cover me. So I think that's more of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
So what do I think about it? At first, I thought they love each other differently. She loves him more in anything under the sun that he needs in his time of need. She'll be there to cover. He was basically saying, I love you. However, I don't know if I'm strong enough, or I don't know if I'm man enough to fight pressure, temptation, bills, other children, all that for 7 years by myself with no daily interactions of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So, and sexually, non-sexually. It could be just support, it could be sexual, whatever it was. So my personal opinion was if she's okay with that, then I'm happy for them. Assuming that this probably was taped last year or earlier in the year or whenever, if this would have happened last week, it probably would be a different feeling for her. But probably just seeing it again on TV probably brought back to like, damn, I had to go through that. Now the world goes through that. It's one of those things where when you sign up for reality TV, you have to accept everything that comes with it.
Yeah.
But for me, I wouldn't, like I said, I want to love somebody that loves me to the extreme and to the max that I love them. So for me, it would have been it's something we would have to talk about off camera, because obviously they was asked about it on camera. And honestly, because he wasn't prepped to the questions before, you just never know how anybody is going to respond when you give them that type of scenario question without any any previous notion that that's going to be asked. So I'm not really shocked that he said, I don't know, because it was in the moment. You know what I mean? But if they would have rolled down the list of all the stuff that she had to deal with and go through for 7 years, that would be a person that you would want to do that for, even if it's not in your nature, just because that was your wife and the woman of your children and she did that for you. I would expect a husband to automatically do that for her.
Exactly.
Because she already did it and she already showed you what it's like to do it. So I think off the strength of their marriage and their love and their family, he should have said yes. However, I respect that he said, I don't know, because it seemed to be honest. And at least it was honest. That's all I can really appreciate out of it. We can deal with what he said later, but at least he did say the truth.
I mean, I agree. I appreciate that he was honest. However, he should have lied.
No, you can't. You can't lie. You can't lie. You can't lie.
On national, I'm telling just from me on national TV. Even if I was feeling like, yeah, I don't know, on national TV, because I don't want to embarrass my wife, who's been dealing with people saying like, you doing all this stuff and you don't know if he would do this for you, and she's been defending me, saying like, we love each other, we both love each other. He would do that for me. He would do that for me. And then on national TV again, it would have been like, then on national TV again, he's like, I don't know. Nah, like even if you did feel that way on national, I'm saying on national TV.
I still don't think it was worth a lie, but I do understand what your point is, like shielding her from the embarrassment.
Yeah.
At the same time, I
like say that for your real counseling at home.
Right, but they're in front of each other in a private setting, even though they're filming, they're having an intimate conversation on the scene or wherever they are. I would not want him to lie, even if it hurt my feelings and I was her. But I do understand what you're saying, but it's not real if it's not the truth. And I just can't go anything that's not the truth. But like I said, if she can, it's all about how you love, because there are people who are just lovers by nature. It makes them happy to make you happy.
Yeah.
But just because you're that way doesn't mean that other person is that way.
Exactly.
So she has to, you know what I mean, move forward with knowing that is the situation that she's in. And hopefully it makes her move differently when she's out getting arrested at protest and doing this and doing that. She has to think about all that she has to lose, because her partner, if she goes down, may not be there when she gets out. So she has to change up her movement, you know what I mean, based upon the reality that he gave her. Right. That's why I say I would rather him not lie. Because if he lied on TV and, they in filming and then she's at a protest and get arrested and fights a cop, and next thing you know, she got 5 to 10 years, in back of her head, she's thinking he's going to be there. And then next thing you know, he write her a letter and say he out. 5 years in, now she's like, damn, I thought you would always be here. That's why I'm saying I would rather the truth, because the truth I can adjust to. I can decide if I want to stay or go. When you lie, you force my hand to stay in because it's built on something that you told me, not with something that you really felt.
And to be fair, he did say, you know, when she was out there protesting and stuff like that, it did make him uncomfortable.
As it should, because he's the mother of children and his wife, and these are cops that are killing Black people all the time. Of course, it makes it come.
He didn't know what was happening in the situation, and I think he did clear it up to say, it's not that it wasn't the I don't know if I would be there for her. It's more so like the I don't know what I would do because I'm not in that situation.
Right. And that's a hard thing to wrap your head around. Like, if I was a single father and my wife was down for 10 years and I got all these kids, that's a hard thing to really rationalize, to be able to say, you know, what you would do. That's why I'm saying on the spot questions like that is really tough for somebody to answer like that.
Makes sense. All right. Now, one last thing before we get into rolling.
Please move forward from this show.
We have to talk about one of our favorite reality stars and my favorite talk show hosts, Joseline and Wendy.
Oh, God.
Because I did not see you talk about it.
You did not say that you was going to ask me about this stuff.
So Joseline and Wendy. So Joseline came on the Wendy show. Now, before Joseline even came out, at the start of the show, you know, Wendy always says she loves Joseline. She's the Puerto Rican princess. She's the boss.
I think she do.
She always says that.
Mm-hmm.
Even at the start of the show, she's like, Joseline's here, our Puerto Rican princess, and I can't wait for her to come out and everything like that.
But go ahead.
So she always gives Joseline her props. So I mean, but she is also fair, and she does when Joseline needs it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what needs to be criticized.
Okay.
Now, when Joseline came out, she did come. I will say she did come out. You could look on her. You could tell on her face that she was already hot and heavy.
Yeah.
And you know, Wendy said, you know, you always look different when you come here, but in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
And then Joseline said, well, I hope you mean in a good way. She's like, I do. She's like, it's always a good way. You always look good when you come out, but each time you come out, it's something different about you.
Yeah. Okay.
So then next you know, I guess it escalated from there. Joseline, you know, Wendy, you know, gives her a do like, you know, shoe cam like she always does. But before she even gets to do shoe cam, it's like, like just blows up. And this is heated back and forth, and you know, Joseline saying, you don't give me my flowers, and you don't do this, you don't do that, you always break us down and everything like that.
Calling a spade, but okay.
And you know, Wendy said, you know, Joseline, you know, I understand where you're coming from, but I'm just doing my job. That's what I do here. And you know, what I've been telling people, like, I will say this in Wendy's defense though, she's not. I really feel like everybody comes at her because she's by herself. When she does,
that lane?
No, I mean like, so on the Wendy Williams show, she's the only. It's on her show. She's the one giving her opinion on her show, right?
Yeah.
But like when you have shows like The Talk, The Real, The View, that pretty much all say the same exact thing, kind of do the same exact thing that she does, give their opinions on such. When people go on these shows, they're not going to combat these 4 or 5 other women, but they'll combat Wendy because she's one. I feel like they combat Wendy because she's just one person.
Okay.
You see where I'm coming. I don't know if you.
I do understand if you have a single target that it's easier to come at them because you can direct it and you can spend all of your time focusing on one person besides trying to check 5 people in 8 minutes.
Yeah.
I get that, but I don't agree. So, I think nobody does what Wendy does. Let's just make sure we're clear about that. There is no TV show host, personality, whatever that is Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams is her own category. With that comes the good and the bad. So let's go to the beginning of what you said. First, when she refers to Joseline as the Puerto Rican princess, it is very backhand comment-esque. So it's almost like whenever she says it, it's derogatory coming out of her mouth. It's never really like, oh, our Puerto Rican princess, and I'm going to do that for her, and I'm just going to like give her flowers, and like I'm just going to roll out the red carpet for her. It's like, oh, the Puerto Rican princess. Like, it's very derogatory sounding to me. So if I was Joseline, I would probably think 10 times worse than I'm thinking as just a viewer. It never really sounds like a compliment whenever she says Puerto Rican princess. So moving forward. Also, when Wendy says it's her job, now that is very debatable. Now, it is her job to give her opinion and give her thoughts, but it's how and when she gives those opinions and her thoughts. It's always in a shady context, even when it's positive. Like sometimes she gives people props and it still comes out and has shade attached to it. So when she says it's her job, I really don't buy that. But I do respect that it's her opinion and she supports it and backs it up with, these are my thoughts. But I think there's a difference between when you have a negative outlook on people and you're telling the truth and when you have a positive outlook on people and you're telling the truth. You can tell that she doesn't care for Joseline as a person that much, but she highly, highly loves Joseline, the reality star. That's the difference. She loves being entertained and watching the train wreck that is Joseline. She does not respect or care for the person that is Joseline. That's the difference, because Joseline is the reality star, and she is the real person. So that's where Joseline probably was saying, like, yeah, you love that I shake my ass and I do this and I'm arguing with Stevie and I'm throwing bottles, but you don't respect that I have a TV show. I'm an executive producer. I put out my own music. I have a child. I'm a mother. That's the difference. So I think that Wendy, I respect that she has her opinions, but it's the way and the context that they come out that I don't get with. So also, I don't think that Joseline needed to say what she said on the show, because I think her opinion of Wendy is already solidified. And she was there to promote her show, promote her business, promote her music, promote her relationship, or whatever it is that she's promoting. So I don't think it was, I think time and place was the issue. Mm-hmm. But I think the other issue is how Wendy's, it's hard to say it's fake, because it's not fake, because that's really how she feels. But it's just that constant disrespect that's just kind of hard for people to take. And I'm a person like that too. Like, if you say something about me today, I may not see you face to face for 6 months, but when I see you, I will address what you said 6 months ago, because I'm just an on-site type of person. But Joseline has to be more smarter. She has to be more professional. She has to be more personal. When you're on this show, you have to realize people like Wendy Williams are a launching pad for your career. It's not where you go to end your career. You have to take that opportunity to get all of your business in, all of your plugs, all of your websites, all of your products in that 8 to 7 minutes that you're on TV, and move forward. Wendy is not your friend, your homegirl that's talking about you on TV. Wendy is a TV personality that promotes you. Rather if it's bad or good, she gets your name out there. So you have to take that for what it was. So I think they both have relevant points. I think in the end, Joseline will take the biggest loss, because this has been Wendy since her brand was Wendy Williams. Nothing that she's doing today, she wasn't doing 20 years ago. And at the same time, she was way worse 20 years ago than she is now.
And go ahead.
So for me, Joseline is in the wrong, not because of the facts, but because she missed her opportunity to focus on all the things that she needed to get done during that interview. Because Wendy's not booking everybody. Everybody can't get a daytime slot on Wendy Williams show and show up on BET at night. So like you missed your business opportunity, but the personable, the real Jocelyn, I understand her wanting to address disrespect. And also, just like I said in the past discussion, when you do reality TV, you leave it up for discussion.
Right.
So whatever you did on camera, Wendy had every single right to talk about because you filmed the show. You signed the contract. You was on Mona. You slept with Stevie. You did all that stuff. So whatever you do in public, people have the right to respond to. That's all.
And and something that Candace Candace Diller Bassett came out from Housewives of Potomac. She came out with on her live. Somebody had asked her about the situation, and she basically said pretty much the same thing you said. Like she even said, Wendy Williams has a job to do, whether you like it or not. She's gonna whether it's good, whether she says something good about you, she'll say something good about you, but she also has to say the bad about you. It's not her job to stroke your ego and to make you, boost you up to who you are. She said, Wendy has been very critical of me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was watching, I'm like, well, dang, like she's even coming out and saying like she's been very critical of her, but she knows that Wendy has a job to do. It's not her job to say, I feel, Candace is such a sweet girl, and everybody just needs to love on her. No,
we have to
sweet girl, but Candace is also a bitch.
we have to understand the context of the statement. Wendy has a job to do. That's the part that people always either overlook or misunderstand. When people say Wendy has a job to do, they're not saying her job is to just trash you throughout the show. They're saying her job is to keep her ratings up, keep her mentions up, keep her supporters up, and keep honest dialogue on her show. The issue that for people who she talks about in a negative light is she's saying it in front of tens and 20 of millions of people that she doesn't like that you did this, or that she doesn't think you're a good parent, or she doesn't like this. It's not, it is her job to be done. But just like I said with the reality TV show, people, you have a huge platform. So when you're bashing someone, even if you're correct in your assessment, you still have to remember that this is in front of tens and tens of 20 millions of people who are going to see this on YouTube, going to see this on multiple networks. So it's not just that Wendy is being fake, because I don't think she's been fake. She's being honest, but it's about how far her platform can go. She's not just on nighttime radio anymore. You're on a daytime privy, millions of people watching your show, and probably some of those people watch it at night too when it replays. So Wendy does have a job to do. That's not under dispute.
What's the #1 show right now?
It's her job to do. It's not under the dispute. It's about how far and how reach her impact is. Because a lot of the stuff that she says, people aren't going to go and fact check it. You know what I mean? If she says Jocelyn filed for bankruptcy, nobody's going to be on the internet looking for her bankruptcy papers and stuff like that. It's all about knowing that Wendy, like I said before, Wendy Williams is a platform. You take the benefits out of it and move forward. You don't have to address and go back and forth with her, because in her everyday life, she ain't thinking about you.
Right.
She's thinking about you from the hour and 90 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever it is that she's on TV. Wendy Williams is a TV personality. That's all it is.
That's Hot Topic
shows and go on.
Right.
It's just hard being in that situation, because it's hurtful for you to turn on your TV and seeing 8 million people hearing somebody else speak negative of you. That's probably hurtful, but
I get it.
At the same time, you are a reality show. Yeah. You are a brand. You are a music person. You're a Puerto Rican person. Like, it comes with the territory on both sides. It comes with, just like if somebody seen Wendy in the street, hit her in her mouth. It comes with the territory of when you're speaking about people and you talk about people's kids, and when you do things in public, rather if it's a reality TV or a daytime talk show, you have to live with the consequences of whatever comes with that.
And I think honestly, like somebody like Diddy, like who she's been like. I mean, even still to this day, is critical of. Like
Yeah.
the fact that he can like go on there, sit on her show, and still like chop it up with her. Like, hey, can I call you Sean? You want me to call you Sean? You want me to call you Diddy? What do you want me to call you? He's like, you can call me whatever you want to call me. And they have like an understanding to where it's like,
because he is a mogul. Diddy is a mogul. He creates personalities. He understands the business.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's sitting at the top looking down, not in a negative context.
Yeah.
He's at the top of the food chain looking down at all the other pieces on the chessboard moving around. He ain't in the slither trying to make sure his song get played and trying to make sure his TV show is popping. He's set up here. Like anything I do from now on is a plus. So I think he understands the game. That's why he can come on there and be happy because he's happy where he's at. Somebody who's still trying to make it and trying to make their name relevant and trying to hold on to fame and they don't want any negative press out there about them because that could affect them getting booked. That can affect their show getting picked up. That can affect how much they're going to make per episode. All that stuff matters to them. To Diddy, I'm coming on Wendy Williams, so she asked me about Casey. If she asked me about J-Lo, she can ask me about Biggie, Lil Kid, whatever she want to ask me about, I'm open with it because I understand the game. Jocelyn, she don't understand. She don't understand the chess moves. She's going off emotion.
All right. Now to the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, because you've been on here an hour and you ain't talk about Real Housewives yet, so you need to.
So the meat. So I'm sorry. So I will say though, part one of this reunion was dry.
The season was dry, so the reunion is going to be dry too.
It was dry. So I want to say everyone did look. I mean, I will say everyone looked great, but the person that got dragged was Kandi. But I feel like Kandi was dressed for the scene, for the occasion, because the theme she was on theme. She understood the assignment. The theme was welcome to the dungeon, and she's dressed for the dungeon
as the head dungeon master,
as the mistress,
as it looked like to me.
So just based off of looks first. Whose look did you like the best? Whose look did you like the least? Of the peach holders.
The peach holders. I think, I don't know. I think everybody's look represented their body and their frame. So I think everybody looked good for what they were going for.
So you didn't have a favorite?
No, I didn't have a favorite, but everybody seemed to, accentuate the parts of their body that they were going for. If I was just looking at random pictures, I would say Portia looked the best because she had the most stunning, like when you see 5 of their 5 pictures, she had the most, like, damn, she had the most, just bam.
Yeah.
But I think that they all looked good based upon what they were going for.
So I will say this. So my top 2, number 1, and I'm going to probably catch flack for this, but I'm going to say number 1 because she understood the assignment and it was on point. Yeah, because she understood the assignment, I'm going to give number 1 to Kandi.
Okay.
Because she understood the assignment. But number 2 definitely is going to go to Portia.
Okay.
My least favorite of the peach holders would probably have to be Cynthia. Only because yeah, I don't know. It's just I feel like Cynthia could have done something more. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's it from there.
I think Candy's hair was left to be, there was something missing, or there was too much there. Because it was the Batwoman, and then it was just it was a disconnect between who did the hair, who styled the outfit. There was a disconnect there. Like they could have done It could have did a straight pony. They could have did something that was more to go with the outfit.
Yeah.
That's why I can't like. I liked the look, but it wasn't complete.
So let's talk about Kenya, and Portia. The questioning of Kenya's questioning of Portia's activism, and whether it's like sincere or for show.
Ooh, I think this is going to be an interesting conversation. Go ahead.
So here's where I am with it.
Well, let me first say.
Go ahead.
Have you seen Kandi speak on it?
Which one?
The one with Don Juan.
Yes.
Okay.
Both.
Okay.
And I saw the one with Kenya as well.
Okay.
But I also watched Portia's Instagram live as well.
Okay. I seen some of it.
Yeah, I watched all the So here's what I have to say about this whole situation, period.
Wait, are you asking me a question, or are you just about to tell me your thoughts?
I'm going to give you my thoughts and then ask you a question too.
Oh, okay.
So my thoughts on it. So as we know, backstory real quick. So we do know Tamika D. Mowry did contact Portia directly to ask her to be a part of this.
Which she should
be a part of the Black Lives Matter situation. And she was out there, she was doing the fight and everything like that. What I did not like seeing on the show was when Kandi and Kenya were having the conversation, and either episode 1 or episode 2, and about the Portia's little what's her sister, when Lauren was throwing the little party, and she's like, "Oh, arrested again," and da da da.
Mm-hmm.
But that was basically questioning, her activism and saying that they basically set themselves up to get arrested all the time for this situation. I didn't like seeing that on the show, and in her questioning like the sincerity of it. Like if somebody contacted me, yeah, I'm going to be out there, in the fight. And she actually they actually recorded the stuff themselves. So Dennis had a camera, Portia had a camera, Yandy had a camera, Tamika. Mm-hmm. So everybody that was up there had their own body cameras, just in case something were to happen and while they were out there.
Right.
So they submitted that footage to production to put to showcase on the show, because she felt like it was something that needed to be put out there on the show. They need serious issues that were going on. So that's why she wanted to show that on the show. And I feel like for Kenya to like question that, and she's not doing, and what I'm saying, like, not saying she's not doing anything, but we don't actually see her doing going out there fighting the fight or anything like that. Like, it's kind of like counterproductive. Now, go ahead.
I agree that it was a bad look for the production to show Kenya having that response to Portia. I don't necessarily agree that it's a bad look for Kenya to have that opinion, if that makes sense to you. Like, I understand Kenya having that opinion, but production putting it in the episode and making it a talking point is probably the bigger issue. But as I said in our previous discussion that we just had, when you have a negative outlook on somebody, you're always going to question their motive, even if their intent is well, because you think negative, so you see negative. Just like you think positive of Portia, so you assume and give her credit because you give her the benefit of the doubt that she did it for the right reason. That's the difference. So I can't really judge Kenya, because in that case I would have to judge you saying, "Oh, you only like Portia's activism because you like Portia." So it's hard to say that. I will say this: social activism is a business. It is a multi-million-dollar business. So I understand Kenya's hesitancy to give her that credit. At the same time, just like I said with Wendy, time and place. If she had that thought, there was no reason to say it during filming. There was no reason for her and Kandi to have that in the midst of the bigger discussion, because it took away from the context of Black Lives Matter. Because now we have to take away from the social activist conversation to talk about the disbelief of social activism. So it is, at the end of the day, production has the final say, but the reality stars are feeding the narrative. So it's really Kandi and Kenya that fed this even being a discussion, because they should have had the sense and the knowledge to know this is going to show, and it's going to reflect poorly on the overall Black Lives Matter.
So, all right. So now, after watching the speak on this and everything like that, and watching Porsha's live and reading those text messages, those long text messages, I guess I get both sides of it, but at the same time, I don't think that. All right, so the scene that was they talk about the scene that was cut out or whatever, about Kandi and Porsha and Kenya all having an argument, and Porsha basically going to production saying, "Hey, this is not a good look for to show us on her fighting like this." And
for her,
huh?
It wasn't a good look for her.
No, for them.
No, it would be a good look because it would support Kenya's claims.
It wouldn't. No, it
wouldn't be a good look for overall.
For three Black women to be on their platform arguing about Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a good look, but it would serve the purpose of supporting Kenya and Kandi's claim. That's what I'm trying to make a distinct thing for.
Well, so what Kandi said was the argument between her and Porsha had nothing to do with Black Lives Matter, and that's what. And Porsha even said that in her live, like the initial argument between her and Kandi discussion between her and Kandi had nothing to do with Black Lives Matter.
Right.
But Kenya came over and inserted herself into it. Black Lives Matter ended up coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that whole thing was. So it was like, well, if we cut this part out, we have to cut the entire scene out, because we're gonna lose. We're not gonna see where Porsha and Kandi basically had their resolve, because it's like
it's in the context of
So it's like Porsha and Kandi are having their discussion, and then about to have their resolve, but then Kenya comes over and asserts herself. Then it blows up into an argument about Black Lives Matter, and then we can't see Porsha and Kandi having their resolve now, because Kenya made it something else that it shouldn't have been. So now we have to cut this whole scene out, because
which I think they should have also cut Kenya's prior out, where she was questioning Porsha's activism. If you're going to cut that part out, you have to cut this part out, because now Kenya's going to be coming at Porsha, because now she's on TV looking a fool for coming at a Black woman supporting Black Lives Matter without the context of why she was hesitant to give her that credit. So I think
about it though too. If you remember that scene, Kandi did have a confessional during that scene saying, "Well, if you're going to continue to question this girl's activism, maybe you don't need to come to the party anyway." Because it's like, why would you want to be invited to something? Why would you want to be invited to something that you're questioning anyway?
To cause drama.
So it's like, yeah, it's good that
cause drama.
And so it's good that Lauren took you out and said, "Yeah, you're not invited."
All I'm saying is, by cutting the scene out, you left Kenya on the island by herself. So now, while they're filming and the show is playing on live TV and y'all still filming, now she has an extra reason to create drama, because you are the one who took the scene out, which shows why she was upset and questioning your social activism. So my thing is, why are we feeding Kenya more drama to bring to the show and still taking away from Black Lives Matter? Because that's what I'm not saying Kenya is right, but I'm saying if Portia goes to the network or to the production company and says, take this scene out because it doesn't make us look good, it also does help support Kenya's initial claim. So if you got to take it all out, because if you just leave Kenya to take the rap for not supporting Portia's activism, you have to show why, or just take it out and move forward with the season. But they didn't have anything else for the season.
But then, you think about it, though, that wasn't the only time she said anything about her activism, though.
No, but I'm saying that's one direct event that we can relate to say, boom.
So it's like they can't take. I mean, so then basically they went cutting the entire. You know what I'm saying? Like they cut that part out. They have to cut the entire.
Which they should have. I would not want to see context around why Portia is being an activist. That doesn't add to the value of Real Housewives of Atlanta. That adds value to the overall mission, which is probably they could have did that like they did in the special. But what I'm saying is the activism doesn't need to be, we don't have to make a thesis statement on why we support activism. We're Black people. We should support activism. Her questioning her activism shouldn't even been allowed to be a part, because we should be so focused on being pro-Black and pro defunding the police and pro getting rid of police brutality. We should be so in that lane that anything outside of that takes away from that. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not defending Portia. I'm not defending Kenny. I'm not defending the other girl. What I'm saying is, if you're making a conscious effort to show Black Lives Matter on a syndicated show or whatever it is, that should be the full story, not half the story, not 60% of the story. That should be the full story. And by you allowing Kenya to walk into that conversation, by you allowing to cut that scene out, you're taking away from that context. So take it all out. Because I don't want to watch Wendy Williams and see her talking about y'all arguing in the context of Black Lives Matter. I don't even want to see that on daytime TV. I want to see Portia, Kandi, Lauren, everybody, and Yandy and Tamika was all at a rally, and they got arrested because they were doing the right thing and standing up for Black people. Anything else does not need to be on the show.
Right. I got you. So,
and they have to do better at that. They have to do better as multi-million-dollar earners on this show when in the context of Black Lives Matter. They need to be better. Y'all can caddy and bring up each other's kids and all that stuff on your episodes. But when you're talking about Black Lives Matter, you need to be better and not be messy in that moment, because it's not needed.
And like based on the text messages from each situation, just going off here real quick. So it was supposed to be, it's like this. So you and me sit down.
No, go back to Real House of Atlanta. Don't put us in the drama, because we don't do this shit. Go keep them on the show.
So I'm saying, so it's basically like they all said we're gonna go to production together, so we can make some changes happen, so we can get such done.
What was the changes? I thought they were just trying to get money.
No, it was supposed to be some changes, like get Black production companies involved, and a lot of different other things happen.
Okay.
This is when before Nene,
wasn't on.
So this is in the off season when they're trying to work out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So basically they were like, we can go to True because True is production, but we have to go to Bravo because we're Bravo talent.
Right. So
let's all get together and do something. So we can go to the network and figure out what we can do do together. Kandi ended up going by herself to get to basically make the same statements that everybody was making, but she did it by herself.
Okay.
So it kind of like made everybody seem like, well, dang, like did she just go by herself just to, to get the credit for herself, or what happened? I mean, I wish we could have all just. I thought we were all going to do this together.
So, but Candy went to the network. I thought the girls wanted to go to the production company.
No, they all wanted to go to the net. They all were supposed to go to the network together, so that they can get stuff done. But then they're like, you know what? Since Candy already did that, let's not take away from what she didn't already did, because we don't want to repeat what she did. Let's go ahead and just go to True and just see about getting us a donation.
Just a donation to what? What were they donating to?
I guess it was a donation to like Black Lives Matter and all the other stuff, just so that they can, have something, just to donate to Black Lives Matter. I guess to Black-owned businesses as well.
Okay.
I'm not like, even on both sides, it wasn't clear what the donation was supposed to be.
Right. I'm just trying to say what was going to be the impact of giving money. But I guess maybe giving money to the victims, the families, the funeral costs or something like that. That would make sense.
So it was like just different stuff like that. So Candy went ahead and she got the special that they did, and Portia said she definitely wanted to. So she told everybody, well, since it's already done, whatever everybody else decides they want to do on their own, I'll just go ahead and support you guys, whatever you guys do on your own.
Okay.
And that was that. So Portia even contacted Candy and said, hey, like, let's go ahead and whatever you're gonna do, I'm gonna support you. Just let me know. Sorry, my TV made a weird sound. And that's how Portia. And then I guess when they got the cast together for that special, Portia wasn't involved in the cast. So Candy actually went to them and said, hey, like, she needs to be on this. Like, what are you guys doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, her family, what she's doing in the community, she needs to be on the show.
Okay, got it.
So, and that's how she got on there. So moving along now, that's what that happened there. It's a lot, but now we're gonna move along to the rest of this dry reunion, and talk about Drew Sidora. The whole thing with Drew and Kenya. I don't know. It was weird. Like I do get where she's coming from with like the whole like, if I'm like the strays coming. How did you feel? Did you think that was fun shade to say?
What?
Do you think calling somebody a stray is fun shade?
When Drew said this to Kenya?
No, Kenya said that about Drew before they even met. Like she's like, where's, in her confessional she said, where did Cynthia find all these strays? That was basically her first thoughts on Drew, which came in.
Do I think, what was the question? Is it right to say it?
Do you think that's considered fun shade?
No. It's not considered fun shade for you to call a stranger a stray. That's not fun shade.
So
that's just shade.
So take it to Cynthia real quick, who said, well, yeah, it was supposed to be fun shade, but she took offense to it, so I apologize. In your opinion, do you think Cynthia licks Kenya's booty hole a lot?
No, I don't. But I think
as far as like she gives Kenya passes for stuff.
Yeah, which is her friend, so I expect her to give her passes.
But do you think she's more but I feel like she's more, just in my opinion, I feel like she's more lenient with Kenya than she was with Nene.
Yeah, but I think the expectations are different. I expect Kenya not to have any sense. I expect Nene to handle her business and and to move accordingly. I think that's the difference, knowing who Kenya is and knowing who she isn't.
Hmm. Hmm. I get you. So I think dynamics with friends should be different. Dynamics with
The dynamic will
Yeah.
shape the dynamic will shape the commentary. You know what I mean?
I got you. So what were your how much is the season? Did you watch the entire season?
I have seen most of the season. I think I've seen most of the season.
So what were your thoughts on Drew Sidora this season?
I thought she was as a character. I thought
Yeah.
she was struggling. I thought that she didn't add anything to the show this season. I think she took time away from other people who could have had more time. I think I do like the aspect of her and her son on TV with her new husband and the father. I thought that was a great visual, and I also thought it was healthy just for their everyday life. But still, I don't think she added anything to the show. And I think she's a very weak character, not a weak woman or a weak person, but I think as far as peach holder, friend of the show, she's a very weak storyline or a weak character. But beautiful girl, beautiful girl.
So I'm going to take it back to what I said initially when the season first started. In my opinion, I think Drew was brought in to give more of like the Kim Fields vibe, like family and
Keep going.
she was I don't think she was brought in. Huh? He needed a moment.
Okay, I'm here now. Keep going.
Oh, okay. So like with
Where's my charger?
like Drew Sidora, like the Drew Sidoras, the Kim Fields, and the Tanya Sams, they were not brought on the show for drama.
Yeah, they are filling characters.
They were brought on the show to show like to basically give a different dynamic of somebody. Now, if drama came along with that, it was okay for them to they wanted to, they went ahead and showed it. But I think for them, they weren't brought on for drama. Like Drew even says in all her interviews, like that the scene with her and Ralph when they were arguing at dinner about Florida, she didn't plan on that coming up. Neither one coming up. It's just something that happened in the heat of the moment while they were having a discussion. And so, like when Ralph gave his explanation about, he went there to clear his head, and there were no other people around. He even produced like I guess, receipts and everything like that to show that he was in the hotel by himself, and all that other stuff. But if you checked out Candy, she gave like a little shady side eye, basically that she didn't believe what he was saying. She thought it was. She even said in her speaker that she thought it was bullshit. What were your thoughts on that? On the entire thing, do you think that Ralph's explanation was honest, or you think something else happened in Florida?
As long as he didn't cheat on Drew, I don't really care what he did there. I think two things. I think his explanation was just from the sound of it. It sounded very forced. It sounded like he had his back against the wall and just wanted to come out screaming, saying, "Oh my God, I'm a good man. I'm a good husband. I'm a good husband. I would never do this. I'm so boring. I don't do anything. I don't go anywhere. I don't look at girls. I don't look at girls' butts. I'm strictly all I care about Drew." So I think that was the forced part. Do I think that he's telling the truth that he didn't do anything? Yes. I do believe him that he was a good, faithful husband. Could he have had a drink or spoke to a girl at a bar or whatever? Probably. Who cares? But do I think he was faithful? I do.
Okay.
Candy's explanation was based upon, for me, how far he was trying to make it seem like he was just the most boringest husband that would never even look at another girl in the eye type of nigga. It would just seem so extra. So it just hit me as like, why is he going so hard if it's true? Like, when you know the truth and you're content in your truth, nobody should be able to pull you out of your bag like that. Like, he just seemed like he was just hell on earth to make it seem like he would never disrespect his wife like that. And if that's your truth, why are you so invested to prove this point that can't be proven? Like, unless a girl pops up on the next week and say she slept with him when he was out of town, there's really no proof to you doing anything. So why are you even going this far?
I guess I understand why he did, because it's more so like when you have not just one, like not my wife, but then you add in 4 to 6 other women that are questioning, like, and Andy Cohen, that are questioning like what really happened in Florida. Then you got people nationwide like question like what really happened in Florida. It's like,
yeah, but that shouldn't be a part of the thought process. The thought process should be, well, that should be a part of, but not the first thought process. The first thought process is, I know my truth, I know my actions, and if I did those things, I wouldn't be here with my wife today.
Right.
So that's first. So when you center yourself, you can deal with the world. Then he also has to realize you're a husband on the Real Housewives of Atlanta show. So you are a secondary cast member by default. So the other girls are going to treat you as such. They're going to question your integrity. They're going to question your relationship. They're going to question your words, question your actions. That just comes a part of the job. 7, 8 women can't bring me out my bag when I know I'm telling the truth, especially as a man. And I think that's the difference from a Peter and somebody who's like an older man. I said what I said, and that's that. I'm not going back and forth with 7, 8 females on a female driven show about what I said. I said what I said. I'm done. I don't argue back and forth with black women on a TV show. As a man, that's where I'm saying and it was unnecessary.
Gotcha.
Because a man is strict in his word, especially a Christian husband. He should be strict in his word. I said what I said. I'm not going to jump out of my bag on this TV show just to give y'all a snippet to post to preview on the next show. I'm not going to do that.
But I also, and I guess that's why they call him the new generation Peter.
Yeah, because that should have not. It was out of. If you've seen the role that he played this season. As the good husband, stable job, successful, good father, good stepfather. That reunion did not portray that person we saw in that season.
Right.
And that's the issue. Because it's like, was you faking the whole season, trying to stay away from drama, but as soon as we confront you about anything you did, now you jump out of a bag. So this is the real you. This is who they want on the show. They want Peter 2021. That's who they want. The husband that he was doing all through the season, that's not going to cut with True. True wants the drama. And that's where I think Drew and all the new cast members has to figure out, how do I still make an impact on the show without looking a goddamn fool?
Right. And so and I want to ask one more question. So if you look at the Housewives of New Jersey versus the Real Housewives of Atlanta or any other Housewives show, New Jersey, the husbands and boyfriends have like a major like impact
on the show. Yeah,
like they do scenes, like they actually do scenes with just the men. Like, why do you think they don't showcase that with our black men on these shows?
I think
or do you think that's that they should showcase?
I think they don't because it takes away from the true purpose of the show.
Okay.
I also think they don't because it takes away probably from the budget. Because normal black men who don't interact with each other on a day-to-day basis, when you put them together, it's gonna be quiet. Like, I don't know him. I don't know him. I'm just here. Like, I don't got nothing. It's not gonna get the impact that they want by bringing black men together that don't associate with each other on a regular basis. Black women is different. You put black women in the room, curiosity, feelings, emotions, words gonna get exchanged, looks gonna be given. It's different. When you put black men in the room, they just gonna be sitting there like, shit, how long we supposed to be here? Like, shit.
Right.
Like, when we get off, like we gotta do 8 hours. But
You notice that it changed, that it did change a little bit. Because like season 5, I think what season 5, 6, 4, it might have been 4, 5, and 6, and 7. Like husbands had their parts. Like, you had the Peters, you had the Gregs, you had the Apollos and the Todds. Like
right.
Even Croy.
Because the dynamics of the show was different then. And then the couples were driving the season.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's the wives, but they're really single characters that are driving the season. Back then, you had Peter, Nene, Candy, Todd, Cynthia, Peter, Phaedra, Apollo. Like the couples drama in their relationship was driving the season.
Gotcha.
What was Kenya doing with Apollo? What was Nene doing when they got remarried? What was Candy doing? Just leaving AJ, coming to the new marriage. And then they want to have a baby and they want to open businesses. And Mama Joyce thought Todd was a no good nigga. Like the relationship was driving the show. Now it's just the ladies that they're forcing them to carry their own weight on all aspects. It's different. It's different. It's the same show, but it's different. You can even tell how they filming it different.
Yeah, because I think I would have loved to have seen, like, if they would have gave Fallon a more prominent role. Well, I would have loved to have seen because we know Fallon's husband and Dennis are friends, so see like Fallon's husband and Dennis interact with each other. Even though and the dynamics between Fallon and Portia, because we know Portia and Fallon are friends because Dennis and her husband were friends.
Yeah.
So it'd been nice to see how how that happened, even though they're not together.
But it would be hard to produce that type of content that would be relevant to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we're, you know what I mean, to make it on this show, you have to have real substantial relationships. If I just see you every 5-6 months here and there, we chop it up for a second, you go about your business, I don't see you for months and weeks later, we really don't have that chemistry to build on the TV show.
Right. That's true.
They got a budget that they're trying to film with. So like, how many days are you going to set aside for me and this nigga to meet up and not talk about nothing? Like,
I'm tired of seeing your friend Don Juan.
Don Juan is a cast member. Why are you trying to see him? He is a cast member.
I said, I'm tired of seeing your friend Don Juan.
Don Juan is a production coordinator or production assistant. Don Juan is a cast member. I keep trying to tell you that.
I mean, no, and it's not that I don't like Don Juan. I think Don Juan is cool through the TV, but it's just like I'm just tired of seeing, if Candy's in the scene, it's like Candy and Don Juan, or Candy and Todd, or Candy, Todd, and Don Juan. And it's like, well, I want to, we saw Todd and Ralph meet. Like, why not, hey, Ralph, come over, let's play poker. Let's get to know Ralph. I didn't, and like, even it would have been nice to see that, that situation, like with Portia, since Portia and Candy, had their little makeup situation. It would have been nice to see Todd, like, try to include Dennis in something. Like, if, like, what I'm saying, like, since everybody was being cool, like stuff like that. And when Nene and Greg were on the show, it would have been nice to see the men actually support, coming up to the house, like, hey, we want to check on Greg, and see how OG is doing, because Greg is, he was the OG. So Greg and Todd, were cool. So it would be nice to see, see Todd come over there, check on him, and da da da. But I mean, we didn't get to see that.
But when you start asking the men for specific filming requests, I need to be compensated.
But I thought the wives on the low paid their men because
I don't care about that. That don't got nothing to do with me. What me and my wife got going on, what she take out of her pocket to give to me, ain't got nothing to do with you paying for me for what right. Me and my wife, we got our business is fine. But if you asking me, if I'm tired, you asking me to film with Rife, that's a scene. You asking me to go visit Apollo, that's a scene. You asking me to go check on Greg and Dennis and this, that is a check. I don't do requests if I'm not a cast member. I'm here to support wifey for free because I need to speak with her anyway about kids, life, family, whatever we're doing. I'm cool to film while she getting paid. But when I got to go and drive out to see Ralph, now you need to be paying me directly. Because you profiting. You using this it's not like I'm just saying pay me. You're profiting from this. You're going to put this in your show that's going to be seen by 2 to 3 million people. You're profiting from my free labor. I don't do that.
That makes sense. Now, what are your thoughts on the whole thing about Kenya retweeting the tweet about Drew's son?
No. I always say leave children and people that are not present out of the situation, especially children, because the nicest person in the world can come out their bag when you mention a child. Leave people's children, even if it's a positive thing, leave people's children off of your platform unless you're invited to that space by the parent. If she would have said, hey, my daughter's doing a fundraiser for kids with dyslexia or kids with whatever syndrome, and she wants you to put this up, and it's her picture and a link to a GoFundMe for the kid or something like that. Put that up there. Don't take it upon yourself to put anybody's kid up there I don't care if it's their happy birthday. I don't care if it's whatever it is. Do not post other people's kids and don't mention other people's kids, no matter what, because it can go left quick.
And what are your thoughts of Kenya comparing tweeting about Drew's child versus a comment being made about Mark?
Okay, run that back one more question. Just say the same question again. What?
So, I guess
don't give me context. Just give me the question.
So basically, she what's your thoughts on her comparing Kenya comparing her retweeting about Drew's son to tweets about, I guess, a tweet that Drew made about Mark? That it's equal because Mark is the father of her child.
So if I was Kenya, those two things would be equal. If I was Kenya,
they would be equal?
Yes, because my husband is my family, who is the father of my child. We come together. Your child that I retweeted is your family. You produced that child. So if I was Kenya, they would be equal. As a viewer, they're not equal. Kids are off limits, and your husband is on the record because he's your husband, and you spent seasons discussing y'all's relationship and show pictures and divorce agreements and child support requests and all that stuff. He is a part of the show. So the husband is allowed to be retweeted or talked about. Now, if it's during a break when the show is not airing, I wouldn't want a cast member to tweet anything about my husband because we're not in season.
Right.
But if it's in season, it's okay because we're filming. He's a discussion point. He's your other half. Y'all are going through y'all's drama. That's what we're talking about to bring viewers to even watch the show. Kids should be off limits in season, off the season, blah, blah, blah. So I understand.
Even Candy said we made a pact to never talk about each other's kids. Just like Kenya went off last season when
But
she thought that Nene was talking about Brooklyn.
but I have to say this. You have to tell people it is not a norm that people's kids are off limits. Everybody was raised differently. Everybody has different motivations. Everybody is different breeds. You have to tell people, hey, don't tweet about my children. That you have to, there's certain things you have to say. It should be known because of the history of this show and how whenever somebody's child is brought up, it's a thing. And the context is not even about what you posted. The context is probably okay. It's the fact that their child was posted along with it is the issue.
But I think we made an agreement as a cast, like we do not talk about each other's kids. So you've been on since season 5, knowing that this has always been an agreement since season 5 is what, season 12?
Yeah, it should be a known thing. Reality TV, regular life, celebrity life, every day on the street. You should not be discussing people's kids because kids are innocent, non-consenting people. Exactly. They don't have nothing part to the show. They don't want to be in the show. They're not going to do nothing but be hurt by the show. Kids should be off limits, period. But like I said to your initial question, I do understand how Kenya made the connection between retweeting that picture and that tweet that was about her husband, because that is her family. So I get it. But in logical, everyday sense, she get fucked up talking about somebody's child. Don't speak on people's child. No, just leave people's kids alone. Retweet, don't like, don't comment, nothing. If that's not your good girlfriend, leave her children alone.
Now they talked about Kenya making comments about husbands again. Overly complimenting husbands. Talking about, oh, they're cute. She can go though. You know, same kind of mirroring the same thing she did with Apollo. And so Andy asked her, he said, so in the interview, you said that you regretted everything that you said up, you know, all the confirmations you made about Apollo. And she said, yes. He said, why did you say that? She said, because me and Phaedra were not friends and I shouldn't have done that.
Right.
So, now she's been making the same kind of compliments about Ralph.
Drew's husband.
Yeah.
Okay.
And her and Drew are not friends. So shouldn't she feel the same way about this situation that she does about that one because she's not friends with Drew either?
How did she make the comments about her husband? So where was she in the confessional?
So in the confessional, they said, so what were your first thoughts on Drew? Oh, she can go.
Okay.
What were your first thoughts on Ralph? Oh, he's cute. He can stay, but she can go.
Right. So Drew is the cast member. She's basically saying she don't like a cast member, but she's saying the husband is attractive, and because I don't have to film with him 24 hours a day, or I'm not getting paid to talk to him or look at him, he can stay. So I can see why she made the comments, but at the same time, fool me once, fool me twice. You should have learned a lesson from that. I would have strictly said, seems like a nice guy. Hope he brings something to the show.
And then they also brought up, so Andy also brought up, well, Candy's aunt was flirting with him at the dinner. Now, and then Kenya made a comment, well, oh, she can do it, but it's an issue when I do anything, when I did it. The difference is that you're a woman that's going through a divorce. You've been known to flirt with other people's husbands on this platform. It's not on birthday. It was the other one. Is an older woman that Drew has no reason to feel threatened by, and she knows that Ralph is not taking her seriously.
You're wanting my response to that?
Yeah.
I don't actually think that way. I don't think that I don't think that he should even be threatened by, or Drew should be threatened by Kenya saying her husband is attractive. And I would actually feel sorry for Kenya or embarrassed for Kenya that she has to say another man is attractive while she's going through a divorce. I would actually not even took it as a threat. I would have felt like, oh, I would have had pity for Kenya. Like, oh, you have to talk about another man being attractive because your man and y'all are getting divorced and he lives there and you live there and y'all got all this drama. I would have took it the whole other way. I wouldn't have been, it's not even about a threat. It's just about respect. So I wouldn't have said it at all, but I don't like the context of just because the honest old and whatever that she should be able to say that. I don't think that needed to be even shown. Even if she said it in real TV, I don't think they needed to show it. I don't think it didn't do anything. But
Ray's opening, and it was very, like, you could tell, like, it was very playful. She was like, "Oh, Drew, your husband's coming home with me tonight." And
I don't think that should have ever, because all that did was show that Kenya is not the only one that thinks he's attractive. So if your narrative is going to be that Kenya shouldn't be talking about people's husbands, don't let anybody else talk about said husband. That's not the wife. So showing that part only supported Kenya's claim that she was just saying he was attractive. Everybody else is saying it. Why can't I say it? So when Kenya says that y'all get on me about stuff, but don't get on other people, that's her argument. It's a weak argument. But it's a weak argument, but it's factual. Y'all let her say it and it's innocent, but I say it now, it's a talking point. So we have to be consistent. Nobody should be talking or complimenting other people's husbands. If they do say it because they're at a venue and it's everybody's around, they're just being nice and cordial, that's fine. But y'all don't need to show it Sunday at 8:00. It shouldn't have made the cut of the episode, is my point. Gotcha. You can't stop people from saying stuff that they want to say, but you can stop showing it.
Makes sense. I got you. So last thing I have to go backwards, but it's one last thing that we were supposed to talk about. Porsha's PSA that was brought up, and Kenya basically was upset that she wasn't invited to the PSA.
Mm-hmm.
The PSA was if it was supposed to be about, the cause and over them, then she should have been invited, right?
Yes, she should have been invited. Yes.
But to that same point, remember last season when Mark had his charity event,
mm-hmm.
and everybody was invited,
mm-hmm.
but she was adamant that she did not want Nene to come to that event.
Mm-hmm.
But Mark was very adamant that he was not breaking up a couple, and he wanted Nene and Greg both to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think that it's very hypocritical of Kenya to say to Porsha that it should have been, that the event should have been about the charity and not about, their situation, when in the same token she's done the same thing and would basically do the same thing?
No, I don't think it's hypocritical. I think it's two totally different contexts. I think the first issue is that you should have a wife and a husband on the same page. I think that's the first issue. If I'm not comfortable with said person coming, even if their spouse is your friend, said spouse can't come. But if you would want to invite the spouse, so if Greg can't come because I don't like Nene, then they both just can't come. That's just what it is. We are a husband and wife. We are the unit. If I don't like husband and you like the wife, whatever, they don't come. That's the first issue. So I think that's valid. Do I think she should have been invited to the PSA because it's bigger than them? No, I don't think that she should have been invited just because they're supposed to overlook all of her messy drama. I think she should have been invited because the overall point of the PSA is for people that are not even filming it. It's for everybody else that's going to be viewing it. So the context of the question you asked me, no, I don't agree with that, because they shouldn't just overlook her drama just to overlook it because, oh, we want her to be a part of it even if we don't like her. No, overlook it because when the viewers are watching it, they're not thinking about y'all's messy drama. They're thinking about the imagery and the message and the vision and the worldly message that you're sending. That's why you invite her. Don't invite her because, oh, we're just going to invite her. We're going to ignore her drama. I think that's a different type of motivation. So I think the question is different. So if you say, is it and this was hard to use the word hypocritical. Is it funny that Kenya was upset that Nene could come, but now she's upset that she couldn't come? That's a different question. Yes, I think in that case, yes, because you was trying to keep this Black woman from coming and being a part of a charity event, but now you're upset that you're a Black woman being kept from a PSA, which has a universal social activist purpose. So yes, in that case, yes, but like I said before, the issue is in that context is her husband's event, and she is the wife, and he and her are not on the same page, and he overruled her, or however you're going to say it, and said, no, that's what's going to happen. I made the decision. Over here, you have two girls that don't like her. They're in charge, and they just have to deal with her for the betterment of the viewership. It's hard to say it's not hypocritical, but it's hard to say that it is too because of the circumstances. But at the end of the day, I'll just say this. Kenya is wrong. I don't know if you want to use the word hypocritical, but she is wrong because she's perpetuating a stereotype she's perpetuating a stereotype that you can keep a Black woman out of something, but then claim victim when you're personally affected. The two don't have to be parallel because they're not parallel. But she is a part of she is now a victim of a problem she created. She was on TV trying to keep a Black woman out of a charity event, and now you're crying wolf because you're not a part of a PSA. I think consistency is her issue. It's not about it being hypocritical. It's just about when you have power, you want to keep a Black woman down. But when you don't have power and people have power over you, now you want to be the victim. So that's my issue, is that she's just not consistent in her movement.
So now LaToya comes out, and this is the last part. Now LaToya comes out from backstage. Apparently, Ralph's barber barged into her dressing room with vitamin C packets and said, "We heard you were sick."
Okay.
And it pissed her off, and she's out there hot and heavy. Now, Drew did acknowledge that she found out that this happened, and they sent that person home because they were out of line.
Okay.
Now, do you believe Drew's claim that they didn't know it happened, or
I mean,
think Toya had a right to be that upset?
it's weird. It's just a weird thing because it should be Bravo controlled.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to even have the access to barge into her room is the first security issue because we're in the midst of a pandemic and they're already filming within the pandemic.
Right.
So it's for me, it's not about if Drew and them know, because I could never know that. But Bravo know, or they should have known that there should have been security, or there should have been cameras, or there should have been everything to keep everybody separate unless their purpose is to be in the company of other people.
Right.
That's the first issue. Do I think Drew and them knew about it? Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. Or maybe she did know, but not at the height of the unraveling that it would cause. Maybe she did know, like, oh, he went in there and it was nothing, he left and was boom, boom, boom. But maybe she didn't know just how offended LaToya was by what happened. But did she know or did she not know? I could never know that. Do I think she probably did know? I don't think she knew. It seemed to me as if she was like, huh? Like, what happened? But at the same time, if I've been filming all this day with these girls and you talk about something that happened 5 or 6 hours ago or whatever, or maybe it was an hour ago, when was it? Like, there's so much that has happened on this stage. Right. There's so much I've been talking about or arguing with and all this. I don't even remember 20 minutes ago, girl. I don't know what happened. So, like, maybe she did know, maybe she didn't. But at the end of the day, LaToya, whatever you was going through or happened should have been handled off stage.
And we don't even know what exactly was going on. So she said she said she had a fever. Then she said she had a kidney infection. Then she said it was something else. We don't know what kind of sickness this girl had. She just said.
And if she is sick, excuse me, a man, I don't know why a man that she don't know is rushing into her room to provide her help unless he's a trained medical assistant or a doctor.
Exactly.
Even if she was sick, I'm not getting up out of my room to go in some room to get in the midst of a pandemic to give nobody no vitamin C. Like, it just didn't make sense for me. But if he did it and he apologized, cool. If they kicked him out because it was wrong, whatever. I don't think it was necessary to kick him out, but whatever. That's their prerogative. That's their building. They run their own show. Right. But why did you bring all that up here? Like, if you can't film and you need 20 minutes to just chill, let's take a break. Let you cool down, and then when we come back, we're gonna bring you on stage and we can talk about the show. Like,
it came in hot and heavy, and
it was unnecessary. It didn't add anything to the show. It was like a confusing moment. Like, so she couldn't even tell us the story right. Like, it just didn't. Like, girl, what happened? And what? And he and who? And like, your barber came in my room giving me vitamin C. Oh, a black man tried to help a black woman because she was sick. Okay. Like, what's the issue? Like, I'm so confused. But it's just like, girl, if you say he invaded your privacy, okay, cool. But like, damn, like, what's all the rah-rah for?
Right. And what'd you think of her look?
I mean, it was okay. I give it a B-.
Do you think it was on theme?
It could be. Like, I think it fit in well with what the other girls had on. It was a deviation from other girls, but it was still within the same mix. Like, you would think they were all going for the same type of thing, but just added their own flair. Gotcha. I don't personally think she's like, I don't hate to say that she's like about looks and stuff, but like, I think she's cool. You know what I mean? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, she's cool. Like, she's not like, ooh, she's cool. And I think the dress, it was just cool. Like, it fit her. Like, it seemed like that's what she would wear.
Gotcha. All right, so we got like 6 minutes left. So real quick, let's go through this real quick. What are your thoughts on people saying that Bravo is hiring too many young girls? So we know that LaToya is 34, 35. Drew is 36. Portia's 39. Cynthia's 53, 54. Candy's 50-something.
Mm-hmm.
And Kenya's 50-something. Shamia's 38. No, Shamia's 39. And Marlo's like 40-something.
Mm-hmm.
So we do know that, we have 3 girls that are in their 30s.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on like the girls in their 30s being on these shows?
Girls in their 30s being on these I'm not sure what's the question
so
being.
People are saying that the women in their 30s are too young to be on these shows.
I think that's a crazy statement. That's a very in the misogynist era.
Like, people saying Bravo's going too young with the casting. Like LaToya, they're saying like LaToya wasn't mature enough to handle this kind of show. Drew's not mature.
I think that's definitely a bad look to say that somebody's not mature enough to be on a show about sisterhood in Black women. I think that's very misogynistic, and I think that we should steer clear of anything like that that's presenting, because that could be affecting many Black women that need jobs. So I think that's definitely the wrong message. If you want to say they're picking the wrong crop of women or the wrong goals, or they're setting up the wrong type of characters, that's a different discussion. But to put the age in it, that's unnecessary. Moving forward, I do think Bravo is definitely experimenting and moving in a direction to see where the show can go, because the show has already hit its climax. The show has already hit its highest numbers it's ever going to do. So the only thing that can come now is a downfall. It just depends on how fast that's going to happen.
Exactly.
So Bravo is definitely looking to see who is strong and who can we build to keep this lane driving, like to keep this going, because the Cynthias and the Candies and even the Marlos are not bringing in, like, to stay stagnant in this business is to fail. So if they're just doing 1.8 million viewers every Sunday for the next 10 seasons, that's not the goal. The goal should be to get to 2.2, 2.4, 2 points. The goal should be to ascend. The show is on a downslide. So I do think girls is a good idea, and mixing it up and helping us to get to know these girls and starting to fall in love with their characters and blah, blah, blah. But it's just the mix they haven't found the mix yet.
Because let's be honest, like season 1 and season 2, that was very organic.
And the girls were in the same realm.
They all knew each other.
They were all, I don't want to use the word struggling because I don't really know what their financial situations was, but they were all in the same type of money, type of lifestyle. You know what I mean? The looks was the same, all of that. As the show is migrating, some people have ascended, some people have stayed stagnant. It's so many varieties now.
It was like Nene knew, the show was built around Nene, Nene knew Kim, Nene knew Sheree. It was like, okay, yes, Sheree is a great person to bring onto the show. Nene knew Lisa, great person to bring on the show.
And they're all in the same age category, all in that same type of place in their lives.
They didn't want no white girls, but Nene was like, hey, like, let me tell you about Kim.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
I think it's a good, at the end of the day, I think it's a good idea for them to bring in new girls. I don't think the age is the deciding factor. It's about the fit. And the issue,
girls, or they should, or for next season, do you think they should bring in new people, or they should?
It depends. I would keep the same cast. I would keep the same cast, but it just depends on what the goal is. Because these shows don't, when they think about next season, they're really thinking 2 to 3 seasons out. If you're trying to get rid of Cynthia, Candy, the older girls in the next 2 to 3 seasons, you need to keep these new girls in. If you're going to stick with Candy and Cynthia, you need to recycle these girls. So it just depends on what they're trying to do, because Candy, Cynthia, Portia is the show. All these other girls are fill-in. So it depends on what their vision is. If their vision is to keep Portia to be the head BIC in the next 5 years, they need to keep these new girls, because she's going to have a relationship and a dynamic with these new girls that's going to support her then. If the show is just to make it next season and that's it, you need to recast immediately. It just depends on what they want to do.
Gotcha. All right. So this is the end of our show. Meech, tell them where they can find you at, sir.
Oh God, I don't even know all of my little socials. Find me on Instagram at @1King_Meech. I'm on Twitter, @1 Meech, and I got music out, so you can hit me up on Apple Music. My music artist name is King Meechy, and I have a couple records out on all platforms. So
what's your new single called?
It's called Friends and Enemies, and it dropped 2 weeks ago.
Maybe you'll go out, cop Friends and Enemies. If you don't have one a bag, I need you to cop that as well.
Oh yeah, I dropped that too.
So cop both his singles. They're out now. My single, Cowboy Winter, is still out.
Yes, it is.
That as well.
Iron String.
Brother, I really appreciate you so much for stepping in last minute.
Sure.
You are awesome. And you're welcome back on the show anytime. I appreciate the dynamic.
All right. Catch y'all later.
And
peace, y'all.